Hello and thank you for joining me, Fiona Cincotta, here at StoneX. And today I am joined by Vice President of Fertilizer at StoneX, Josh Linville. Thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
So, let's take a look at what's going on in the fertilizer markets at the moment. Phosphate values continue to push higher than their already high values. So tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, one of the biggest culprits we've got out there today, it falls back to China, as most fertilizer stories tend to do here recently. Here in recent years, since 2021, 22, when we spiked the phosphate levels around the world, China started to pull back their exports. The government started to pull those back in an attempt to keep supplies heavy and prices lower. And it's been widely successful. And so they've dipped from a normal 9 to 10 million ton per year export rate to somewhere closer to, say, 6, 7 million ton. But this year, 2025 calendar year, has fallen off the face of the earth. Our January, February data showing only 98,000 ton exported. Put that on an annualized basis, 600,000 ton. We're not getting good reports for March, April. We are hopeful as we start to move into the second trimester of the year that we start to see them return at a little bit better pace. But right now, as long as Chinese exports don't exist like they do today, prices are going to be supported. They are one of the biggest suppliers around the world. So when they disappear, the world has to take notice.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then there's India, of course.
Yeah, they are proving what is going on with China. So China is actually the one that is driving the market. India is the one that is showing the world just how badly it's going up. So India has been behind on stockpiles. Their stockpiles have been very low. I don't want to say dangerously low, but they are lower than normal, lower than what they would consider comfortable. So they're trying to play catch up, which means they're constantly buying. World manufacturers and sellers are taking advantage of that. Where they were several weeks ago, they were buying product in the 640, 650 range. This morning, just before I walked in here, they just purchased a $700 CFR vessel of DAP from Russia. So they continue to prove the global supply and demand balance is way out of whack. Prices continue to move higher. They are just the catalyst for it.
And I suppose if this continues, then, prices will remain high across the summer.
Yeah, typically speaking, as we start to move into June, July, August, this is your annual seasonal low for the phosphate market and a lot of fertilizers around the world. And this is what retailers around the world have come to expect. This is what farmers have come to expect. But this year, if China remains out of the export market, we hope that isn't the case. But if they do, I think we've got to start to kind of hedge our bets and say we may not see these resets like we're used to see. And when you look at where phosphate is versus many of the grains out there, incredibly high. I can tell you in the US right now, when we look at the US corn price for December 2025, we compare it against the NOLA DAP price, which is sitting around 635 for this time of year. That is the second worst, highest ratio value that we have seen in the history of our data, only eclipsed by the mega spike back in 2008. What that means, farmers are spending more bushels of their hard-earned grain to pay for their phosphate inputs.
And then what about the NaUAN supplies? They remain extremely tight as well, right? What's happening there?
So this is a story we've been watching all the way through the winter. We had said, listen, UAN has potential to be kind of snug this spring as we move into it. We had started off the fertilizer year very tight on inventories. We had a very successful spring 24 program. So we ended low on inventories. We had several production hiccups in the fall. Nothing major individually, but all of them combined started to turn into a very big number. Imports for the year have been very low. Exports for the year very high. We had a couple very big cold snaps that moved through Canada and North America that impacted production as well. We move into spring. Now we see corn numbers starting to move up. Now corn acres are getting bigger. That brings nitrogen demand up with it. And suddenly 3 decently sized production plants go down in the US. Again, short term, but the damage has been done. Usually you can find UAN physical product to ship within, say, several days, maybe a week or two. Right now, most people are coming back and saying, I cannot find product until late May at best. More likely June, with some facilities saying we're sold out till July. For this time of year, for us to be this tight on inventories is a very major concern.
And so global nitrogen basically continues to struggle with supplies due to production issues, basically.
It does. We're kind of at that peak moment. But for a lot of places around the world, the calendar is starting to run out. When you start to think about how long it takes vessels to transit around the world, things that ship now are coming in at the tail end of spring season. So while things are snug and it's like, okay, we'll just get more coming, that opportunity is starting to come to a very, very fast close.
No, so I mean that's been giving us a lot to be thinking about, and I suppose if we were going to sort of highlight the three things or the main points that you're going to be looking out for over the coming months, what are you going to be watching?
Number one has got to be on the phosphate market. It's so overpriced versus every metric that we look at it from. But that does not mean the market has to go lower. A lot of people see it and say, oh, it's high, it has to come down. Not necessarily. So if we're going to watch that, and then the second follow-up to that is going to be, how will demand react if that price stays high? Your buyers are going to run for the hills. They're not going to want anything to do with that price, but the manufacturer is going to have no reason to have to drop their price. So it's going to become a major stalemate as two parties look at each other. That's going to be a major thing. Nitrogen market, we're going to continue to watch Chinese exports. We're going to continue to watch operating rates in Europe, different places like that around the world to see just how big of a reset we can expect. Potash is the one we still think it just kind of remains calm. Global supplies are adequate. Demand has even been big, and that's failed to push price ideas up. So unless world manufacturers start to curtail production in a very big way, it's very hard to see potash prices up substantially.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for all your insights, Josh. It's been extremely useful and helpful. For more videos like this, please do like and subscribe.